This is Ron hanging out with Kurt Deimer, and talk about your the new album that's getting ready to drop. A Grog is Born. Talk about the process of making that album, and the concept of the photo on the
Yeah,
album cover, because it's first off, is that your actual parents? Because it kind of
yeah.
does look a little bit like them.
That's actually my mom and dad. I lost my dad in 16, my mom in December of 24.
Okay.
And after I was the only family member left because my sister preceded even them in death. And we were a family of four. And so I'm going through the whole house, my mom's, it was like that I had gotten for her. It's like a Dimer museum. And I came across all these pictures, she saved everything. And there were just boxes and boxes and boxes of pictures. And I love looking at the ones from the past. I love old pictures to begin with. And
Yeah.
one one night I'm just sitting having a drink and a smoke, and I'm like, I know Scared to Death was coming out in theaters, and I knew the second album was coming. We didn't know what to name it. The first one we named And So It Begins because basically here world, this is what Kurt Deimer does, and now you can see how he progresses as he continues to write and perform. And I'm thinking of Barbara Streisand, A Star Is Born, and how in the movie Scared to Death, the Grog is introduced to the world as a horror icon. So I'm like, let's do the 70s motif type font. A Grog is Born. We'll put this picture, which I think is just epic to honor memory of my parents, which they would have loved. They love it, I'm sure. And we'll just
Yeah.
put the tickler, which is what the Grog has, onto baby Kurt, onto Kurt on the back cover on a picture that I think they were both probably at Sears or J.C. Penney back in the day. And then we'll do a couple on the inside, when I was like quit music, and then now that I'm back in it, and I just thought it would be great to share. It's retro, and it'll definitely draw attention to the album, but that's the story behind it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like I said, yeah, it's the first thing I see whenever you see. You just first of all, I just laugh because you just see the baby with the,
The little
with the
beard.
like you said that. So it's so that part's funny, but then it's like that those old timey kind of photos. But then it's like you kind of look at them and I'm like, oh, I wonder if that would be his parents. Like a just take an old photo and kind of just reamp it a little bit to make it that comedy. But I was like, that's what it looked like, and that's why I was wondering about that if that was what it
Yeah.
actually was.
Just a little day probably after church at J.C. Penney,
Yeah.
mom, and dad, and now it's an album cover. So you never know in life what's going to happen. But I just thought it was appropriate as our sophomore album and all the music Chris Lord Alge and I kind of set aside that we've been working on the last 6 years because I was training my vocals and, trying to get my voice to where I could sing and not talk all the time and a lot of hard work, and that's what you're gonna find on this album. And putting it together was like really revisiting several songs that we had in the pipeline, and that's what you hear now. I mean, even Silent Lucidity, which is blowing up all over the place, the cover, the way we do it, because Chris DeGarmo wrote such a beautiful song. Jeff Tate's been so good to me, and he did Burn Together with me off the first album. And he agreed to come back in and do Silent Lucidity. It's blowing up everywhere. We're bringing attention to suicide awareness and having people help everybody all over the world. And we'll continue on that mission. You get a feature from Josh Todd and Buck Cherry on In Deep, which just
Yep.
spent 5 months and 11 days in the top 50 mainstream rock chart. So that had a long run, and the rest of the album, it's just top to bottom. You'll just want to put it on and just jam. It's
Yeah.
like a total
Yeah.
departure from what Kurt Deimer was on the first album.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, I've been listening to a lot of it, especially like I said, when you were talking about Sound Lucidity with Jeff Tate. I love that version of it because you're just so used to, Jeff's high range and that, and then it's so him kind of going a little bit lower, and then with your voice lower, you guys kind of your vocals together work so good, so well on that song. I really like that version of that song. It's definitely, like I said, it's a good song too. I mean, as far as like raising awareness, especially when it comes to the music industry, because it's such a taboo subject to talk. People don't want to talk about it, but unfortunately, we've lost a lot of musicians because people don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, yeah, we can't be afraid to have those conversations, and artists can't be afraid to take a chance, like to put a song out like that, all the Queensryche purists, and how big it was, and what an impression it made on me. And I know it's about dreams. I mean, people don't need to
Yeah,
remind me of that. But I just like I did Have a Cigar, the Pink Floyd cover, I did it my way. And you either like it or you don't. Silent Lucidity, we're doing it our way. We're bringing awareness to suicide. It's a perfect song for that. And, to me, it also means mom and dad are looking down on me. Grandma's looking down on me. All my little angels, family that you've lost for all of us, they're looking down on us in silent lucidity and kind of guiding us through this crazy thing we have to go through here on planet Earth. So
yeah,
you can interpret it in many different ways, but I wrote that. Actually, I didn't write. I obviously didn't write it, but that the idea came actually in November 12th, 2020. Chris and I were in the studio. I had just done a little COVID tour just to see if I even wanted to get back into the business. And I said, I'd really like to do a cover of Silent Lucidity with the talking thing and all that back in the day. So we banked it that night. And the next day, my grandma, who I was thinking of that whole week because I knew she was on her way to heaven, she passed away the next day on Friday the 13th. And so, Grandma, here it is now. And it's getting noticed all over the world. And I can't help but see her smile and knowing that she's been guiding me in the right direction. So
yeah,
that's a
for
little
sure. And then
backstory behind that. So
yeah, yeah, and then like talk about work, like you said, the in the deep song with with Josh Todd. Talk about working with him. We just I'm from Maryland, so I just recently saw Buck Cherry. They were playing at the M3 festival, so I got to see Josh
oh,
go up
cool.
on stage and stuff like that. Talk about that song and working with someone like that. Who's Buck Cherry. Obviously with Josh and stuff like that. They're an iconic rock band.
Yeah, Josh is awesome, and we toured a lot with Buck Cherry the last few years, and the first time we were with Skid Row and Buck Cherry, and did quite a few shows and a lot with just us and Buck Cherry. And then we went back out on the road with Steel Panther, Buck Cherry, and
Yeah,
then us as special guests. And we got near the end, and we had a few more just Buck Cherry shows because we do really well together, our two bands, and love the vibe. I love their hits from back when, and I had this song "He Was Good to Me." This is another example off my demo I had taken out to California back in 2020 when Chris Lord Alge kind of discovered me and took me under his wing, and we became such good friends now. And I said, I asked his tour manager one time at one of the shows in the casino halfway through the tour with Steel Panther, you think Josh would ever want to do a collab? I would love to do a collab. And so our tour managers kind of talked, filtered to the two of us because Josh and I spend time alone until we get on stage and we have our routines. And he said Josh would like to do it. The last show we had with just them, I sent him the song. We exchanged numbers. He loved the song or the music of the song. It's a banger. And
yeah.
he said, I'll collab with you, but I want to rewrite the lyrics the way I want the lyrics. And then you got the music, I got the lyrics. I said, hell yeah. That's why I've been sitting on this thing and never put it out. And a month later, we're at Chris Lord Alge's studio recording it and shooting a music video 2 days later. And then it ends up, breaking top 50 for 5 months and 11 days. So that's the story behind In Deep. And it's just turned out great. And I loved working with Josh on that.
Yeah, yeah. And like I said, even listening to a little bit of that song, a little bit of the album myself, because we got the little bit of the being press people, we get to listen to a little bit of it. I really like some of those songs. There was a couple of ones that was a little interesting that I was kind of not really expecting. I really liked the song True, that really was one, but the I wasn't quite expecting the cover that was in it with In the Air Tonight. Talk about the song True, but talk about putting the in the air tonight on the album too.
Well, True's the feature track now with the album release this
Yeah,
Friday, and the video will be coming out, and it'll be going to radio after Silent Lucidity. In Deep, we didn't want to really mess with because it was making such a long-standing run on radio. So then we'll go Silent Lucidity and then True. But yeah, True is just about being yourself
yeah,
in this unhinged world. Don't let the influences all around us turn us into somebody that we're not. Stay true to your character and who you are. And it's very Americana-ish. And I wanted to pick up the vibe of, back in the day where you had the old car, you just turn the radio on, put the T-top, take off the T-tops back then,
yeah,
and just jam your a tune. And it's such a jammer.
yeah, for
And
sure.
Phil X's guitar work, and that's amazing. And I think it's really going to hit big with everybody around the world because it's just that song to drive
Yeah,
around, be cool, chill. And In the Air, I loved Bill Collins, song In the Air Tonight back in my earlier days, and always thought it was just spatial and surreal and just mystical, if you will. And Chris and I decided one night, just hanging out at his house, that let's take a shot at it. I talked it again and sat on it for 5 years. And we said, look, we're going to revisit that now that you can sing. And I actually sang all the high on there and everything along with Marco, my music director and lead guitarist and vocalist. And Chris had me go to octaves I've never been in before, but it just felt so good to felt I needed to show people, okay, I can also sing. I don't
yeah,
just talk. I can save the talking for special moments that enhance the song. And we're going to put, like we did in Silent Lucidity, we want to put the meat in it and bring it into the, people that may have not heard it before in the 2020s, if you will, the
yeah,
decade we're in now, and just make it powerful. If you notice the trend, Have a Cigar, Silent Lucidity, In the Air, we've just taken the beautiful works of art those artists did, interpreted it our way, and then brought it into kind of our brand, our vibe, and just put a bunch of meat in it, man.
yeah, for sure. And like obviously, I even made a joke to Barry when we were talking stuff like that. I do other than the Empire Extreme. Me and my one buddy, we both do a horror podcast, which is why
Ooh.
we're Vampire and Devil podcast, where we talk about horror movies and we talk to people about stuff like that. And you actually did an interview with my buddy that I do it with, Jay Oakley. You guys did an interview with them with the Metal Summit, the one time and stuff like that. So yeah, me and him both have the horror podcast. So, I'm big, huge horror fans. So first off, we'll talk about the new one that's supposed to be streaming today, Scared to Death. Talk about, working on that one.
Yeah, Scared to Death. Paul Boyd, the director, had a script, and we had worked. He did my Burn Together, Big Toe, and Naive Video trilogy, and so we had met then, and we just continued talking about stuff. And I have a movie coming out this fall that I star in. It's a horror duo called Hellbilly Hollow,
Yeah.
and we already have written Hellbilly Hollow 2. That's my franchise. It's a trip. You're going to trip out on that one. It's a
Nice.
lot of fun as well. But then we had this Scared to Death, and I loved the script. The grog wasn't there yet because it was still being tweaked. Lynn Shay was getting involved. I knew she was tied to it. Possibly Bill Moseley, who was like my favorite horror actor from The Devil's Rejects.
Yeah.
I just thought he was so great in that movie, and I couldn't believe that he was maybe going to be in it. And then Paul wrote this character, the Grog, and he goes, I just want you to be the cool, chill dude that you are all the time, the laid back dude that's nice and kind and always spreading peace and love. but you're a horror icon and you're the Grog. You're Gregory Grogstone. And we created this whole myth of the Grog. And I'm like, I'm in. Lynn's in. She played the role she wanted. Bill's in. He played a role he doesn't normally play. Was hilarious. And I said, put me in the room. And Paul was so nervous because, he'd seen me in Hellbilly Hollow, but nothing, everything else that's come out, I just had smaller roles in. I go, Paul, don't worry. I got this, man. I got it. So Bill and I just had a blast. Lynn and I had a blast. The whole cast, our ensemble cast, we just had so much fun. We ad-libbed a lot of the stuff. And I got to prove to everybody, and hopefully everybody will see it, that, yeah, Lynn Shay, Bill Moseley, Kurt Deimer, I can do any of that. And that gave me the opportunity to act alongside some icons and show what I'm capable of doing. So that was my biggest draw to wanting to be in the movie. And
Yeah.
the legend of the Grog's just begun. And then
Yeah.
to tie that Grog is born to the movie and the Grog, there's a lot to play with there,
Yeah.
for the fans. So I'm already thinking of all kinds of cool merch and everything. But that's it, man. Yeah, it comes out on VOD, and it'll be out on VOD, like I know on Google and Prime, and I think Apple and all that for 3 months, and then it'll go out on streaming everywhere after that. So
Cool.
really stoked about it, but it had a good theater start as well. And Hellbilly Hollow, then as this comes out on streaming, will hit select theaters this fall, and then do the same
No,
thing.
nice. Yeah, and then like obviously, you're talking about working with, those iconic people like Lynn Shay and Bill Moseley. You gotta kind of work with an iconic person as well too. My me growing up as a horror fan, my favorite horror franchise was Halloween. I'm a huge Michael Myers fan.
Oh yeah,
Talk about, being in Halloween and, squaring up with Michael Myers.
Halloween is what gave me the idea to do my own Hellbilly Hollow, because that was early on. As I just got back, I didn't even ever think I'd be an actor to begin with. But when I got into Halloween, just to know I was going to be in the real sequel with Jamie Lee Curtis and all the people from the one back in the day, the John Carpenter. I'm like, this is going to be
Yeah.
big. And to be on the short list of the John Carpenter Halloweens, of the kills of Michael Myers, that'll never leave me. And the iconic kill that I had, and being in all the prosthetic magazines and all that, it's like everybody remembers the teller. I laid like that
Yeah.
in that gas station for like 4 hours on that table. And to just sit there with Michael Myers, James Jude Courtney, and shoot the shit in the gas station, talking about our cats and our, you know, animals and stuff. And then, okay, well, Kurt, now you're going to lay here for 4 hours. I had towels over my head because we were out at a gas station out in South Carolina, and they didn't want people to see what I looked like. And yeah, it was crazy, man. And I owe probably everything where I'm at today to that film and being picked to be killed by Michael, and Trading Paint, which is the only reason I ended up doing Halloween, where I went down to just do a cameo and present the check because my oil brand was in it, and then I get cast in the movie with John Travolta, Shania Twain, Michael Madsen, and here we
Yeah.
are today. So kind of crazy how life works, but you got to go with your gut.
Yeah, for sure. Now, when, like you said, you talked about the prosthetics, is that something that you want to further along in your horror career with the, being in the prosthetics and doing that? Because I know some actors don't like the prosthetic, journey and stuff like that because, hours and hours of being in a chair. But, did you
That was
enjoy that?
3 hours. Three
3 hours?
hours on, 1 hour off, but they didn't tell me that up front. And that's
Yeah.
probably why I got the role. They go, we just won't tell him, and then he'll show up. But no, I in Hellbilly Hollow, Bull has a fucked up eye, and I had to put scars on my face and everything every day. It's probably an hour of makeup every day. I think whatever the role is, you got to embrace it, and you owe it to the fans to do it right and not cut corners. And I'm not some diva that says that, okay, I'm not going to do that. They told me in the gas station, do you need a break for your leg? They're all worried about SAG actors. I'm like, no, but just move them a little bit. If I move off this table, it's going to look fucked up. And then after that was done, they were going to put a dummy in the body bag in that Halloween's scene. I go, you spent all this time on this, zip me up in the body bag, put me on the gurney, and David Gordon Green's like, hell yeah. And that's how we got that shot. So you got to put it all out there. And I got a movie coming out that Andy Gould, who produced House of a Thousand Corpses and The Devil's Rejects, and he used to manage my music career.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so when it comes to doing those kind of horror films and stuff like that, was that something that you were were you into the horror films as a young person, and what movies were you what was your some of your favorite horror films? Oop, maybe we lost you.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. Can you hear me?
Mhm. Yeah, I can hear you. I think
You're
let's see.
sideways now,
Nope.
or you're up and down.
Yeah, I think let's see if we can get it to switch.
There you
Nope.
go.
Out.
You had go the other way,
Times.
or is it me?
Yeah, I think you are. There we go. Gotta love technology.
There we go. But anyways, I was saying, Andy Gould, you got all that right. Andy Gould, House
Yeah.
of a Thousand Corpses, Devil's Rejects, producer. So he helped me with Hellbilly Hollow, bringing that to the finish line when I first went out to California, and that he's doing another project called Pandemic Sex Party. He calls me about a year ago, and
Nice.
wants me to be a part of the project, but he wants me to get killed by this new big iconic killer, the Rancher, the next big mass character like Michael and Jason. I said, I'll be a part of it, but quite honestly, I want to be the Rancher. I'm going to be the next big killer like Michael Myers and Jason. So they loved it, and so I spent a year ago, just a year and a month ago, just killing about 15, 16 people the way the rancher does and getting rid of degenerates in the world that are making society so bad. So stay tuned for that. And
Nice.
I have a movie, Relapse, that we just did, bringing awareness to fentanyl addiction. In fact, Phil Collins Camp is letting us put in the air in it, our version.
Oh, cool.
And I star in it with folks like Marilyn Manson's in it with me,
Oh, nice.
and got a great cast. So, yeah, so a lot going on, man.
Oh, yeah, yeah. What I was saying before we got disconnected again one more time. What was the movies that were you always into horror films as a young kid, and then what kind of horror films were your favorite movies when you were growing up?
Um, anything without an exorcism or an omen, because that freaked me out. Parents taking me to church every week. I thought that was a little too real. But I loved Amityville Horror, the first one. I
Yeah.
loved Nightmare on Elm Street, the first one. I loved Tombstone, the Western, with
Oh,
Val
yeah.
Kilmer. Anything Val Kilmer's, I
Yeah, I'm a
love.
huge
He is
Val
such a
Kilmer
great
fan.
actor. So I like all kinds of movies. I'm not really big into rom-coms and all that. I love good comedy movies like Dumb and Dumber. And I got a script that I want to do where it's kind of like Dumb and Dumber, but instead we're two dumb cowboys who ride donkeys because we're afraid to ride horses. But I mean, all that kind of stuff I love. So I'm not just horror. It just so happens that a lot of what I've been doing right now is horror, but Relapse is more of a drama. So
Yeah.
I'll do whatever as long as I feel the role and I feel like I can do it justice. I'm open to really anything.
No, yeah, for sure. And then, obviously with the album getting ready to drop out soon, do you have any plans for 2026 to do a little bit of a touring for the album or any of that kind of stuff? Or
Yeah, we're going to be announcing tour dates. You can find them on kurtdeimer.com, DEIMER.com. So We'll be doing some tour dates. We've got a big show with Hailstorm, July
Oh, nice.
17th in Omaha. So really looking forward to that. We're going to be playing up at Sturgis 2 nights, and
Oh, sweet.
very thankful to Jesse on that. And just a lot of good stuff happening. So I'm really looking forward to all those things, and we'll be adding all kinds of tour dates. So just stay tuned, and we're going to be out supporting the album, promoting the grog, promoting the movies, promoting the radio, and all that. So
Oh yeah, man. Well, anything else you want to say to the fans before I let you go? Anything else you want to, plug for anything as far as, that has to do with, with Kurt all in general, you know what I mean? Not just music and movies, but anything else that you're adventuring into?
yeah, no, I just appreciate all of you, Kurt Deimer, the grog. Scared to Death out on video on demand. Guarantee you'll enjoy it. Get a group of friends together. You'll have a great time. It's a great ride. Put your email in on our website, kurtdimer.com. You'll know when our tour dates are. Follow us on Spotify, Apple, anywhere you stream music at Kurt Deimer. Check out Silent Lucidity on YouTube and subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's going viral. And what the message that we're bringing, I think it'll be very educational for everybody, and
Yeah.
it's a great tune. And you can pre-order, pre-save all that stuff on all anywhere you stream music, and follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, everything. That's it takes a village to grow all over the world, and we're doing it with the help of all of you, and I appreciate our fans very much.
Oh yeah, man. Like I said, I'm looking forward to the, to seeing Scared to Death. Like I said, I'm a huge horror film and I like, I've looked at some of the cast members and stuff like that. So I'm definitely excited to see that again and like to see that. And then, hopefully, like I said, with the tour dates coming up, hopefully you do a little bit of a run around our area in Baltimore area or something like that. Cause I'd like to not only see the show, but to just like just to say hi in person. So it'd be really cool. I'm looking forward to that. But
Yeah,
like
man.
I said, I
Anytime.
really thank you for taking the time and stuff like that. And like I said, everybody to go out and check out the new album because, like I said, I got to listen to it and it's killer. You know what I mean? It's got a lot of really good tunes in it. It's like you said, it's one of those albums where you can, like you said, you can drive around on it and stuff like that, and just a lot of good tunes on it.
Well, thank you. So that's what I was striving to put out, and I think everybody's going to look at Kurt Deimer and our music in a different light now, and then probably go back and listen to the original and understand it more. You know, it's all about
Yeah.
building, and I can't wait for everybody to hear it. And thank you for helping us promote it to everybody. And you're always welcome to any show when you see me in the area. Just reach out, and I got your back, man.
Hey man, cool man. Thank you again for taking the time, man, and have the good rest of your day.
Yeah, you too, man. Thanks. Peace and love,
Yeah, okay, man.
everybody.